so many
Hold the
people
mic close to your
here
face.
this
Mic
Hold the mic
closer to
close.
Closer? Can you hear me now? Okay.
No.
Closer still?
Yes.
I'm really glad to see so many faces here this evening, and I only wish that Susan could be here in person. She's over on the Skype chat listening in. And Sarah Kirschenbaum is here in an honorary position to hold place for Susan. So I'd like to thank Alice, and I'd like to thank Brian for introducing the concept of this show, and to Connie Bostick, who showed Brian the original Out of Bounds booklet that held poems from the mid-2000s. And so when Brian came to visit in New York in the studio in May of last year, we pulled out some poems, we looked through some poems, and I told him that the Out of Bounds is a small part of a really big story, and so I hope that this show is representative of that big story, which is a poem a day, every day, for the past 30 years, since 1984. And that story begins previous to 1984, when Susan met her beloved Swedish dealer Anders Thornberg in 1977, and she was at PS1 in Queens, the Contemporary Art Museum, and she had a studio there, and she met Anders, and she and Anders immediately began exchanging pictures, writing, anything to share her life and her work. And one day, in 1984, May 11th, 1984, which is the first poemable in this show, she sent a watercolor drawing of a cup of coffee, and it's a poem titled Cup of Coffee, and it kind of elucidates her practice of sitting down every morning in her Chinatown apartment and writing about whatever came into her head, be it musings on her studio life, her life at large, great joys, deep sorrows, sleepless nights, jokes, anything. Nothing is too grand or too small for a poemable. And so with this first poemable, she started an intention and said that every day for the next how long she was going to write a poem accompanied by an image. And she has continued to do so for over 30 years and has amassed a trove of 10,000 poems, and all of these poems are in her apartment in New York City. And so I was lucky enough to sit down over many afternoons with Susan with a folder in my lap and go through these moments of her life for the past 30 years. And so what you see on the walls is a very small, but hopefully a good glimpse into an amazing practice. And there's some poems in the center of the room. They're in a plastic binder, and those are scans of poems that would give you the idea of what it feels like to sit down and leaf through a binder of these poems. So I hope you enjoy the show, and tomorrow at 2 p.m. Sarah, Susan's daughter, and I will be conducting a talk that goes into a little bit more depth about Susan's practice and the poems. So please come out and we will share the journey and answer any questions. Thank you very much.